Alex had been working as a hospital attendant for 6 months now. Most of his job was straightforward, organizing supplies, transporting patients, and occasionally assisting with more sensitive tasks. But the morgue shift was something entirely different, a chilling routine he hadn't quite gotten used to. The nights were quiet, almost too quiet. He'd wheel bodies from the ICU, the emergency room, or wherever they had passed, take them down to the basement, and slide them into the frigid metal lockers. It was supposed to be simple. It was around 2 a.m. on a night like any other. Alex received a call from the ICU to come and take an elderly woman down to the morgue. She had passed unexpectedly, and he was the only available attendant to do the job. They'd had a particularly busy night with several urgent cases, so Alex took it upon himself to get her to the basement as quickly as possible. After bagging and tagging the body, he wheeled her to the utility elevator. The hospital had specific elevators for transporting bodies, ones that avoided patient and visitor areas. The hospital had enough eerie stories and didn't need anyone stumbling into the wrong elevator at the wrong time. The elevator shuddered and the B button glowed as it began to descend. Halfway down, though, the elevator stopped. The lights flickered, and Alex felt a heavy silence settle in. He hit the button again. Nothing. Then, with a lurch, the elevator started to climb, moving up instead of down. A chill crawled up his spine. Doors opened on the 5th floor, the pediatric unit. Confused, Alex pressed the B button again, hoping to reset the elevator. This time, it went to the basement level, but stopped just shy of opening. The lights blinked out momentarily, leaving him in darkness with the faint hum of machinery. When the lights returned, the elevator shot back up, past the floors, up and down, until it finally settled again on the 5th floor. The doors opened, revealing an empty, dimly lit hallway with rows of silent rooms. By now, Alex's heart was pounding. He'd heard rumors about this particular elevator. Some of the older attendants had whispered stories about how it sometimes stopped where it shouldn't or seemed to take on a life of its own, carrying passengers to places where they didn't belong. He tried to stay calm, but something in the air felt off, heavy, almost sad. After a few deep breaths, he called the charge nurse, explaining that he couldn't get the body down to the morgue. She sighed, but when he mentioned which elevator he was in, her tone changed. "I'll be there in 5 minutes. Don't leave the elevator." 5 minutes passed, then 10, but no one showed. Suddenly, the elevator door began to close on its own. Alex frantically pressed buttons, trying to keep it open, but the door shut completely. He pressed B again, and the elevator jolted, shaking before going completely dark. When the lights blinked back on, he was in a basement corridor he didn't recognize. A long, shadowed hallway stretched out in front of him. At the end of it, he saw a figure, a woman dressed in a faded hospital gown, staring at him. Her face was pale, expressionless, with eyes that seemed hollow, almost too wide, as if she'd seen horrors he couldn't imagine. Alex's voice caught in his throat. He couldn't move, paralyzed as the figure slowly turned and started walking down the hallway, her footsteps echoing. Finally, Alex managed to move, and he turned, slamming the emergency button repeatedly. But the elevator wouldn't budge. Then from the corridor outside, he heard a whisper, a faint, mournful call for help. "Please, just take me home." The whisper grew louder, but as it did, it sounded more desperate, almost as if it were screaming through clenched teeth. Just as he was about to lose it, the elevator jolted back to life. The doors slammed shut, and he found himself speeding down to the real basement. When he returned to the ICU to report what happened, the charge nurse seemed unfazed. She glanced at the woman's file and frowned. She was a pediatric nurse here back in the 90s. Some say she was haunted by her work. When she got sick, she'd wander looking for her patients. You're not the first to meet her. That was the last night Alex worked the morgue shift. He left St. Francis the following week, but he never forgot the woman's hollow stare or that terrible whisper. And late at night, when he can't sleep, he sometimes wonders if he'd taken her to where she needed to go, or if she's still there waiting for someone else to finally help her find her way home. If you enjoyed Alex's chilling tale, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update from our channel. And if you have your own ghost stories or experiences, Share them in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Stay curious, stay brave, and until next time, keep the lights on.